Hi, I'm Simon, this is the Mantis Garden, and today I'm just going to be talking about what roach is the best feeder roach for your animals. And when I say animals, I'm including things like reptiles, I'm including things like tarantulas, and of course mantis. So, which one is the best? Wasn't quite sure how I was going to do this. But as I have numerous sets of roaches, I thought what we'd do is find out some important factors and see which one adds up to the biggest number, basically. It's a purely mathematical thing and possibly a matter of opinion as well, because some people are going to agree, some people are going to disagree. This is what I find to be the best way to do it. Now, I have red runners, I've got dubias, and I've got lobster roaches, I've got banana roaches in there, headlight roaches, domino roaches, and cave roaches. There might be another roach somewhere, I can't remember. Anyway, these are these nice little boxes for a reason. Because some of them are a bit flighty. And I don't want them all over my room, so I've selected a few to stick in these small boxes and you can have a look at them without a million of them escaping, which is not fun at all. What I'd like to do is start with headlight roaches. Split this up into categories. This is a headlight roach, which is refusing to behave. And these include things like availability, breedability, and he's gone, and a few pros and cons regarding them. Wow, this guy is not behaving at all. Protein factors, taste test, which is not me eating them. It is what I think the mantis think of them. Because Annie's gone. He's just disappeared. This is set up. Is another thing I'll be looking at, which for many of them I probably don't do them the same way as most, which would be a large storage box with egg cartons, and I tend to do a lot of them in a bioactive sort of thing. Now these guys, one of their cons is you can't see any because they all vanish and hide. So that's a con for you for a start. Availability, headlight roaches. I think I'm going to give them a 6. They are out there, but not exactly as common as some of the other roaches. So finding them could be difficult. Breedability. Yes, they breed like rats. Take a bit longer than probably what you're used to if you're used to things like red runners and dubias. Mind you, dubias do take a long time, but I don't raise about them. They just seem to multiply without you even noticing. They don't climb, which is good, but they do bury themselves. So you can't exactly rely on these in, say, for tarantulas or reptiles where you're going to pour a few in. They'll just vanish, and they can vanish within a second or two, and they've buried themselves under the substrate and you cannot find them. So yeah, not a brilliant roach for any of these reasons, and I would advise against them. As far as taste test is concerned, they seem to be treating them like dubia roaches. Now, I couldn't find any information on the protein values, on the crude proteins, so I'm going to give it a guess. I'm going to, rather than say 0, I'm going to say 30%, something like that. Probably the similar to crickets, which is 37%. So I'm just going to say 30 for these, as I have no factual evidence. So therefore, we'll keep it a bit low just in case. But I should imagine they're a bit higher than that. Anyway, that is the headlight roach. Another wonderful little roach is the domino roach. Now, these guys, they can climb and will climb, and they will get out of pretty much anything. but they are a little more placid. Again, I can't find protein information on these, which is a bit of a downer. I can, but I found about 5 different places telling me different things. So I'm just going to stick with that 30 again. If I can't find the information there, we're going to say the 30%, which is less than crickets, but, you know, crickets are not good for you. It's certainly not good for our little guys. Now, these take quite a while to get going and breed. And they are very pretty. And they're not the sort of thing you really want to be feeding your animals with. I think they are more of a pet than anything else. As I say, they really are pretty little things. And they're quite feisty as well. They've got a good temperament. They're not going to bite your animals. So if you do feed them, and now they've all come underneath the camera instead of the other side. There you go. And their availability, well, they're out there. But, you know, they're a bit tricky to find. They're a bit more expensive than other roaches. I've seen them anything from 50 pence each to £2 each, depending on where you look, of course. But these are a really exceptionally pretty roach, and I wouldn't bother feeding them to my animals, so I can't give you a taste test. But I'm sure mantis don't care and they would eat them anyway. Probably the same for spiders. They're not very hard-shelled like dubia roaches and other sort of thicker shelled roaches. These are a rainforest type animal, so make sure you keep them nice and damp and nice and warm, like with all roaches. And that's the domino roach. This is Badrus, which is the cave roach. I have no adults in here, unfortunately. Believe it or not, that's not an adult. Cave roaches are huge. This is still a nymph. And they're very fast, very feisty, but they are quite cute. And when they're bigger, look at that, pooped on me. Anyway, when they're bigger, they would be a considerable meal for a very large mantis or a very large tarantula, possibly a beardy, and other large reptiles, but nothing too small. Now, price of these are quite expensive roaches. They're not the sort of roach that I would suggest feeding, but if you've got millions of them, then why the hell not? But not for me. These are pets. And for sale, of course. Now, breedability. Takes them quite a while to get off the ground. Once they do, just like other roaches, they will keep going. They're very clingy as well. They're very fast. They do burrow. So if you throw them in with, say, tarantulas or reptiles, you're not going to find them. They're going to burrow. Look, they've all gone now. Nothing to be seen at all. I had to dig them up. Literally dig them up just to find one, which is not good as a feeder, in my opinion. And the price doesn't help. And I'm sorry about the nose, but I have hay fever. And today is quite bright and sunny and high pollen, so I'm struggling. Yeah, that is the cave roach. The protein value on a cave roach is extremely high. It runs up a crude value protein of about 60%, which is probably the highest of all the roaches. But again, with the price of them, it's not the sort of thing I would actually give to my mantis. Okay, this is banana roaches in here. Now, there's only a few in here. They're all in the main box, but I've thrown a few in here just to show you. Again, these are another tropical one. They need a nice damp sort of rainforest atmosphere and lovely and warm, as all roaches like lovely and warm. Let's have a see if I can find them. These actually live with some isopods. There is one. These are extremely quick. Not only are they extremely quick, they're extremely flighty. Adults have wings and they can use them. They really can fly quite well. They're also cute, look at that, and they're a lovely green colour. So again, they're a nice pet. But these guys are extremely prolific if you've got the right temperature for them and the right food. They will go absolutely nuts, and you'll have absolutely no problem having lots and lots and lots to replace them if you want to use them as feeders. Also, the nymphs, you see them there, are quite good for smaller things. Smaller tarantulas, smaller, mantis, probably geckos or something. But yes, these are an excellent... they also like to bury. So there's probably a lot in here, but they're just buried. Now, availability. I don't see these very often. Sometimes at shows, people will have a little box of them. They're not expensive, but finding them seems to be a struggle. But yeah, as far as protein is concerned, this is another one that didn't have a protein listed. I found about 10 different places saying, oh, it's 10%, oh, it's 80%. So let's not believe any of those. But I'm going to say it's going to be a pretty good protein chunk, I think. These are also great for things like flying food, like ghost mantis and devil's flowers and violins. They're very, very cute. I wish I could get a closer view on that, actually. See if I can. I should. I've used a macro. But yes, very cute little roach. And no, I'm not earning it. I've got hold of its wing there. But yeah. And that is the banana roach. This one is definitely a firm favourite of everybody's. This is, of course, the Turkestan roach, or the red runner, or the desert roach. There's lots and lots of different names for these. It's lateralis, I think. I think that's its proper name. These come sort of in all different sizes. They're so easy to breed with a bit of this. Now, this is the only species that I keep with egg crates and dry. These guys come from the Turkish desert. All the other roaches that you've seen so far come from rainforests and the like. So, these little guys, ugly little sods, I have no problem at all feeding these to anything. So, I've got one in my hand. I think I should feed one. Now that that's over with, we've got, I'm going to say the availability for these is definitely a 10. 10 out of 10. They're everywhere, you can get them. They're so cheap, it's unbelievable. A couple of hundred will set you back 3 or 4 quid. And they breed like absolute crazy. You just put them in this sort of setup and give them food, which is generally, you can give them protein. They like protein, so high protein dog biscuits are pretty good. I give them a hedgehog sort of biscuit, and also ferret biscuits, which again are high protein, and they seem to love them. I grind them up for them, and they munch on them, and next thing you know, I've got lots and lots of tiny little baby red runners. Now, one of the problems I find with these is catching them. And I tell you what, catching them with these is even more difficult, he says, as he catches one first go. But yes, these are an absolute wonderful roach for feeding absolutely anything. They have 37% crude protein, which is very, very similar to the cricket. Only these guys breed a lot faster. They don't stink the house out if you're breeding them. They don't need as much attention. Basically, one of these boxes, a few of these, and some heat, and away you go. That's it. That's it. That's all they need. And you'll have roaches forever, and they just keep going and going and going. Now, for a bit of moisture, I chuck the odd carrot in like that, and they'll munch on that when they want a bit of a drink instead of the water crystals that people seem to buy. I don't know why. You can always stick in a slice of cucumber or something, or a slice of potato, or a slice of apple, or a slice of pear. All those things are just as good as natural moisture. So why give them the water crystals? It's just money that you don't need to spend. This has got to be one of my favourite roaches, and I really, really don't like feeding them to the mantis or the spiders because I like them. They're like pets. And these are, of course, the dubia roach, which is extremely cute, if you ask me. They're very placid. They don't bite. They don't smell. They are just wonderful little creatures. So I hate giving them to the mantis. And they're also dustbins. They will eat absolutely anything you chuck in there. Anything at all. And it will be gone. They do like a slice of orange. But that's up to you. I will... That's peed on me. Again, people keep these in dry conditions, which is bad for the roach. These are from a rainforest. These live in South and Central American rainforests. They bury themselves and they love it. One of the biggest things, one of the biggest killers for these guys is desiccation. So they can dry up. So when people keep them dry, it just winds me up. And that's when you need all them crystals. And you need to keep on top of the job. And that's the only reason they give them oranges. Just to give them a bit of... oh, he jumped. Give them a bit of moisture. Look at that. That's orange. That's not mould. It's orange. There's a big orange in there. Look. Well... Availability, again, they're all over the place. They're very, very cheap. They do breed. They take about 3 months, which is a bit slow, really, for roaches. But again, look at the size of that. Look at the amount of meat in there if you're going to use it as a feeder. Beasties, large mantis, tarantulas, all like this little guy. Yeah, don't worry, mate. You're going back in a box. Go, have fun, be free. And yeah, that's generally dubia roaches. They're fantastic critters. 54% protein, so they are quite high. So you might want to murder them for that reason. Okay, this is the last and my least favourite roach on my list. These are evil little lobster roaches. They're very soft-bodied. They can fly a bit, not that I'm worried because they're not going to get out. They can glide. They can sort of drop glide. Again, I've got substrate in the bottom of these because they do live in a place where they would prefer a substrate base. And I've got some egg cartons, but I can change my egg cartons daily if I want to because I know someone with a cafe, which is quite convenient. It might not work for you because obviously the egg cartons, if it's too soggy, they will go all weird. But these guys, they bite. This end means business. These guys will bite. They will bite your animals. They can also, very quick, can hide, can climb. Lots of reasons why I don't like them. But it's not me who's eating them, is it? So it doesn't matter if I like them or not. Look at that. They all vanish as soon as you want a video. They just disappear. I've got to fill this up with more cartons, actually. I haven't got enough in here. There's loads at the bottom. And you can't see them. But again, they're eating the same stuff as the other ones. Which is some fruits or vegetables. And I've also got some dog biscuits in there. Which I think they're ferret biscuits. And some rabbit pellets, which is something I forgot before. You can put rabbit pellets in as well, which are just greens, really. And those are the evil lobster roach. Well, that was 7 different roaches that we had a look at. Which one's the best? Depends what you're feeding. There's no particular best roach. There is the highest protein roach, there is the best temperament roach, there is the one that's least likely to escape, roach. There is the roach that likes to fly, the roach that doesn't like to fly. It's all about what you find your animals like the most. The way I see it, dubious, great for spiders, great for beardies, great for massive mantis that want to, they're maybe when you're pairing them. Red runners seem to be great for everything. So I stick to red runners. I really like red runners to feed them because I find them ugly. And I'm quite happy to send them to their doom, really. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. And you get a full range of them from the tiny micro nymph, which feeds my mantis nymphs, and it also feeds very small spiderlings as well. So they're quite cool for that. All the way up to the adult red runner, which will feed an adult mantis. It will feed an adult spider, or even a range of different reptiles. So yeah, red runners for me are the best feeder roach. Lobster roaches, I suppose, for a few things. I won't give them to what I would call delicate mantis. I will only feed them to big monsters like Kirby-eye, maybe Spogro mantis, but anything smaller or more delicate than that, I won't feed them because they do nip, or they can nip. The bigger mantis tend to grab them and just crush them and fold them up into a taco, whereas the other mantis, if they're struggling to hold it, they're going to get bitten, whereas the larger ones don't. So I would advise, unless you're really confident about it, don't feed them with the lobster roaches for your mantis. Reptiles will be fine. I can't comment on the tarantulas. My wife feeds her tarantulas with red runners and she feeds them with dubias, unfortunately. We've never bothered trying them on the lobster roaches since I noticed they bite. So we thought, not really worth it because tarantulas take so long to get up, and she's quite attached to them, so I wouldn't like them to bite them and get an infection and die, and then she blames me, which is really the main point. Like I said, the banana roaches, I find them absolutely terrific because they're so prolific that they're just available all the time to you. You just stick them on a heat mat, that's it. Heat mat on the side, remember, not underneath, or on the top is fine, but not underneath because they do like to burrow, and they are dumb enough, roaches, to actually cook themselves by sitting on top of the heat mat. So yeah, be careful with that. Make sure it's on the side or on the top, and they'll be fine, and they will breed like crazy. Honestly, absolute crazy. And the adults are fantastic for things that like flying bugs. And if you, like me, and you don't want to keep flies around, because flies are a pain in the ass, they stink as well. So I definitely don't want flies in the house if I can help it. They are wonderful. There's lots of mantises out there that prefer flying things, but don't let anyone tell you they'll only eat flying things, because that's just absolutely rubbish. They won't. If you give them, say, red runners from being a small nymph, they will take red runners right up to be an adult and not care. They won't even have a second thought about it. It's what's available they will eat. Some prefer flying food, and if you spoil them by giving them flying food early on, they will always require flying food. Ghost mantis are well known for doing this. Devil's flower mantis is well known for doing it. Trigonodera are very, very common to do that. They like flying food. Most people shove them in a net and put flies in there with them. Same goes for the gongies, the violin mantis. People will use flying, flies really for them, instead of just giving them what they have, because they will eat it if you convince them otherwise. Right, headlights, dominoes, caves. I'm going to say no, just because they're more of a pet roach than they are anything else. I'm missing one there because it was 7. Headlights, caves, dominoes, red runners, dubias, lobsters, and the other one, but the other one was probably a pet as well. That's what I think, because I'm going to go for red runners, dubias, and lobsters, depending on what you're feeding. So that's my opinion on the best roaches as feeders. So make up your own mind, really, is what I'm saying. But you've seen what I've got. Well, sort of. I've got a lot more than that, but see you next time. This has been me. This is the Mantis Garden. I've made a video. Whoa.